Bumbuckler.
The thing I find absolutely fascinating when I was reading the book, and we're talking just now, is you've got a really refined, critical examination of what you do, of painting, and you've obviously thought about it an incredible amount.
Well, hold on. I went to art school in 1968, so I've had a long time. and hold on. And when you went to if you went to art school in 1968 and you insisted on painting, you were tested at every syllable. You weren't so much as educated, although I don't want to get onto that now because I don't believe people are educated any longer. I believe they are certificated but not educated. No, in the 60s, everything was contested. We were taught to scrutinise everything, and the range of influences were extraordinary. Within 1 week, we would have seminars that would embrace everything from Marxism, feminism, which was particularly influential upon my generation. And conceptualism was the dominant discourse. I mean, that sort of embraced all that happened within the studios, pretty much. And if you chose to paint, you were perverse. We would be looking at and talking about work by people, the thinking and the writings of people like Gurdjieff and people like that, who come from, by today's spectrums, the esoteric far right sort of thing. But we saw no mismatch in that. Whereas these days, there's an intolerance for things that you don't like, if you get it.
Yes, and we're coming back.
So, exactly, coming back to that. And so that's why I've taken like out of my lexicon, because it doesn't inform me. It's a bit, I tell you what it does, particularly in an educational context, it's about control. Because if you start with the education, and I can example this very straightforwardly. When I was doing chairing the interviews at the Royal College for the painting department, there would be candidates who come in, they were understandably nervous, we'd make them a cup of tea, make them feel comfortable. I would say straight away, and this is not like other interviews, we're not going to play guess the right answer. So you just tell us your story. It's your narrative, it's your interview, it's your space. And invariably, somebody would have their work and they'd lay it out and they'd say, but of course my tutor didn't like my work. And you think, oh, right. So who is this tutor? And they'd say it's so-and-so from something or other polytechnic or university. And you think, God, that SOB. I wouldn't trust him to post a letter, let alone do a proper tutorial, and things have got worse. The idea that it's actually about control and about power is really, really important. It's approving and disapproving of other people's behaviour and values. And I don't want to specify which courses, but there are some, even postgraduate courses, where tutors tell students that they don't like their work.
Absolutely.
And the students don't know how to deal with it, right? Or they go into a bit of a funk about it. No, it's about prejudice. It's about ignorance.
It's quite frightening the way you talk
about it. Of course
it
is. No, but it's destructive. I mean, it's got to a pretty poor pass, where it's about approval, taste, or sensibility. But I actually think teaching, it should be a matter of not approval or disapproval, but a matter of empathy, a matter of intellectual curiosity. I wouldn't necessarily get up in the morning and do what you're doing, but I'm fascinated to know why you do it. And if I can get a handle on it, I'm curious. So I can behave. I behave in what I regard is an empathic sort of way. I imaginatively try and take hold of the work, take possession of the work, and think, well, if this was my work and this is my set of, what are the problems? What are the issues? What would I be facing? What are the kind of decisions that face me? And going back to St Martin's in the 60s, I was very fortunate in the tutors I had. I mean, I had John Golding, the art historian. I had Peter de Francia, painter and professor at the Royal College. And I was very good friends with and spent quite a lot of time with Richard Wollheim, who I admired immensely and still do. And I rapidly learned that education is about learning how to think. And painting is an extension of thought. It's almost seamless.
Bumbuckler.